Hi, welcome to the 1 Liter Podcast. You will watch us drinking 1 liters of beer whilst talking about shies. Please like and subscribe. Welcome to the 1 Liter.
Prost! Oh, welcome back, Lollipop.
Yeah, it's good
It's
to be home.
Oh, with the nectar of the gods.
I'm drinking Resches Pilsner.
Precious Pilsner.
Now, I told Phil I had the best beer I've ever had in my entire life I've been into Europe recently. So I was in Prague, and the Czechs are very notorious for having good beers. The beer was called Pilsner it's like a name, but it was spelled like Urquell, Urquell or something. Guys, so good. Everywhere else I went in Europe after that, and they had it on the menu, I was purchasing that shit.
Urquell. Yeah, I see
Phil,
it.
Let me ask you something. How do you deal with long flights?
Oh, dude.
Everyone's like, I get Valium. It's like, I just raw dog it.
Yeah.
I need Valium next time.
You're like, I'm going to fucking raw dog it. Comes back from Europe. I am Valiuming the shit out of it. No, I've never Valiumed. I would love to. I think next time I also might Valium.
Yep.
Apparently it's the best. You just pass out and then you just...
Yeah. You have taken 11 hours off your flight. 2 hours remain. Cool. I'll watch the latest Chris Rock film,
Yeah. Fuck raw dogging it, like the memes.
Where they just sit there and stare, dude.
Just raw dog this flight.
Oh, dude.
I would die.
No.
I've seen obviously parodies where it's like, just raw dogged my shift at work. No emails, no calendar. just the Windows screen, like the Windows desktop.
Yeah. That would be a crazy, like, do you know those weird things where like a car dealership or like someone will be like, all right, the competition is if anyone wants this new fucking Ford or pickup truck or whatever, the last person to be holding it wins. So everyone puts their hand in it and then slowly like people, that kind of thing.
The Mr. Beast style.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that's like that kind of weird realm would be the equivalent of like trying to challenge people, like who can sit there at their desk for 7.5 hours and not lose their shit.
Yeah.
Like not need to piss, not need to sip some water, just raw dog it.
The not pissing is pretty tough, but you can prep for that, right? You just don't drink much. Like you've stopped drinking like in the afternoon the day before.
Yeah.
Pee in the evening, pee in the morning, and then just be dehydrated. Yeah, you could set that up.
Yeah.
But fuck that.
It's like I was talking to these dudes at work last night around bum fights, and they'd never heard of it.
What is a bum fight?
Oh, it's
now
like,
you're going to have to teach me.
It's like I think it was like around the early 2000s, but this dude I think it was like LA. He'd go around to LA and like film it and like go up to bums and go, if you guys punch on with each other, I'll pay you, mate. You remember that shit?
Like homeless people fighting. Yeah.
And like, dude, he became a millionaire. Like he was selling VHSs. It was like everyone in a college dorm was like, oh, did you see Rowdy Mike fight One Shoe Willie? Oh. And it was like it was like, I think it was around before YouTube came out. And then when YouTube did kind of like kick off, it was like some of the most popular videos. And dude, these dudes had not heard of it. And I was like, I remember seeing an interview of the guy and people were like calling him a monster and shit. And he was like, hey man, I fucking fed these people,
True. It's okay, man. They had a punch on and then they got a meal.
Yeah.
That just reminded me. Do you know what I saw not too long ago? It would have been a few weeks ago. A random podcast. I don't even remember what the podcast was, but with Trent from Punchy.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
And he was with his two mates.
Yeah, where he breaks down how the video came about. Yeah. And it was just his mate being like, you got to do Trent on camera. And he's like, I'm not going to do that because like he based it off. Yeah, he based it off. So he based this character that he would just break into randomly in front of friends and they'd be like, that's so hilarious. And his friend's like, we should film it. He's like, no, I don't want to film it. And then his friend was cutting his hair and cut the sides and just left a massive mullet And he's like, finish my fucking haircut. The guy's like, only if you do Trent on camera first.
Yeah.
That's how it came about.
Me folks, eh? Didn't it? And the origin story was the guy at the bus who was like, yeah, got a ciggy?
Yeah.
And like he was like intimidated by him and shit.
Based it off a real guy.
Yeah.
That's great.
I remember when they're actually watching the footage back and the two dudes are pissing themselves. And he's like, women are like bitches. They're like stitches. You open them up. And then he's like saying the line. And then Trent, the guy looks at the guy. He's like, that's serious. Like, that's pretty good. And then the guy was like,
that's good. Did you hear way back in the day, like a couple years after the video surfaced and everyone was like, oh my God, Trent for Punchy. And people thought he was obviously real. And then other people were like, he's an actor. And then there was a rumor that he died.
There's always a rumor that someone
like,
died.
Yeah, like that the actor that played Trent from Punchy died. So I actually thought that's the last I heard of it. So then when I saw that, I was like, oh, he's alive. And he looks like Trent.
Dude, I thought for sure he was just some crack addict, and then someone's like, oh, no, he's an actor. And I was like, oh, yeah, fair enough. And then
when you rewatch it, you're like, I see it.
Yeah. I remember going to my cousin's house on the Gold Coast, visiting my two younger cousins. They're like a couple of years younger than us, like literally like a year and 2 years. So they're around our age bracket. And they're like, oh, have you seen this? And I remember watching it and being like, I got to take this back to Logan. I got to shoot.
I got to take this back to the motherland.
Dude, and back when we had like MSN, dude, MSN was so sick. Just before everyone really started to hit up MySpace, I remember sharing that around, dude. I felt like the man when you're the person who discovers like the new thing.
Did MSN
was sick, dude.
Did we have group chats?
Yeah,
cool. So there was groups and then there was the individual chats.
You had like memes and shit and like GIFs, pretty much. Not memes, but you had like GIFs and you could like, homework, sex, you put like your own little thing there and shit.
Yeah, I thought about MSN the other day because I can't remember who I was talking to, but we were talking about like phones and kids now. And there's schools now that are banning phones through the day, which is like apparently, and mum's school that she works at, they're doing that. And she's like, it is the biggest difference in the kids. Like you can see straight away. She's like, the only thing is like some of them you can tell they're that addicted because they need to go to the bathroom much more often. So they're obviously just going there, getting their phone fix. But now it's like they don't have their phone through the day. So then after school, they get on their phones and they're on their phones talking to their friends. And then the parents are like, what do you mean? Like, you've been talking to them all day. What else do you have to talk about? And I'm like, we did that, but we did it with MSN. And it was like to me, and this is probably showing my age, but to me, that was like a really nice disconnect where it's like you had to be at the computer and that's when you were talking. If you walk away from the computer to go have dinner and stuff, you were BRBing. Like you weren't just constantly distracted because now you'd have the group chat on your phone. You'd be looking down. You'd be at dinner table with your parents and they're like, is this child even here?
Yeah. Dude, that's funny. I never thought about that. But when you're at the bus stop, if you're, anywhere, people are always just like glued to their phone. So I can't imagine, like I haven't been to school in a long time, but like I haven't been to a school since 2009. So like
Let's hope not.
Yeah, right. Hey, FBI,
come on.
FBI's listening. But I reckon going back to a school now as a parent or something and then going in there and at a lunch break and then walking around like the cafeteria area, dude, it'd be so quiet.
So different.
Kids would just be like glued, dude. That's like, it's fucked.
That's interesting. I wonder if it is really quiet. I would want to confirm
some kids
that,
who are like
surely they'd be conversing and shit.
Yeah. Oh, it'd still be.
Have you quiet at lunchtime? That's I want to confirm that because that would be. Have you watched Adolescence?
No.
You need to watch it purely for the production. It's a one take episode. So like one camera, one take, the whole episode. Very impressive.
Does it follow one person or multiple?
Multiple. So like
strategic.
It's kind of like 1917, but 1917 they found like strategic points where they can do cuts.
Yeah.
No cuts. They filmed a 1 hour episode. It's only 4 episodes, but every episode is the whole thing. So it's kind of like the actors are actually doing theater. So they have to perform the entire script for that episode in one go. And the way they do transitions, I've noticed, is like someone will be walking, they'll have a conversation, and then a random, I'm thinking of the scene when they go visit the school, and then a random kid will walk by and they'll like follow that, and then he'll have like a conversation with his mate, like a kind of off topic, but sort of still related. They'll follow them for a while, and then they'll go into the next room, and then the other character will be there, and then they come together. It's so well done.
Imagine being the person who fucked it up right in the last 2 minutes of the shot, dude.
Dude, I've watched a couple of interviews. Some of the episodes, the one that they used is like take 10 or more of a 1 hour episode.
Have to be, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'd have to train for at least a year or something, like 6 months just to get it right, you know?
And the kid is a young kid. Like the performance on him. Brilliant. At first I was kind of like, oh yeah, did they cast him correctly? But I was very impressed. I was very impressed, especially with the third episode, I think it is, where it's like him and a therapist for most of the time. And it's just performance. I was like, holy shit, dude.
What did you watch this on? Prime?
It's either, it's one of the main.
Netflix
it's either Prime or Netflix.
Okay.
It's one of the main ones.
American, Australian, British?
British.
Good. I prefer
It's got the dad of the kid. Do you know what it's about?
No.
13-year-old kid murders another 13-year-old girl. And
Isn't
it's
that
like
13 Reasons Why? Or is that chick kill herself?
She kills herself, I think. Yeah, that's her 13th.
I want to ask you about that as well.
I've never watched that.
Me neither, but it was like, Vish, no.
But the dad of the kid is one of the pirates in Pirates of the Caribbean. Is that he's pretty fucking jacked.
Is he the one-eyed dude, or is he the like
he's
Harley? That guy?
He's kind of a Stephen Graham. I'll show you. You'll recognize him straight away.
Stephen Graham. Oh yeah.
He's like the funny guy.
I love him, dude.
Yeah.
What's she done now? Yeah.
Yes.
Dude, he I first saw him in Gangs of New York, the Scorsese film.
I've never seen it.
Oh, wow, you'd love it. I first saw him in Gangs of New York, and then he did This Is England, and he's just done heaps of shit. But he always plays this like angry dude. But like him being the dad, like a short, stocky nug dude, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, and he is good in it.
Oh, he's great. Oh
man,
dude.
the feels.
He was
dude.
in the most recent Venom. So
gets me right in the feels. But the reason I brought that up is because in that movie, they're like, the cops are like interrogating this kid, and they're like, oh, she's commented on your Instagram photos. Like, you guys are obviously friends. And he's like, no, we're not really friends, blah, blah, blah. And then the detective's kid happens to go to the school that the guy goes to. So he like pulls him aside. He's like, you're getting it all wrong. Like, they're not commenting because they're friends. They're bullying him. And the comments are just like emojis. And then the kid has to explain to his dad what these emojis mean and that they're actually bullying this kid. Like frowny
face, cucumber,
like
more
in depth than that. It's kind of like, oh, you're this type of person, you're going to be single forever kind of thing. And like, you're going to die alone, that kind of shit. And like just bullying via emojis. And I'm like, fuck that. I'm glad I was born when I was born. Like MSN was enough.
Yeah.
Imagine being bullied on Instagram comments.
Dude, I feel like the last year or the second last year of high school for me was when we had MySpace.
Mm-hmm.
We even had Bebo.
We got Facebook at the end.
Yeah, we did. But there wasn't like, it wasn't super, by that point everyone knew each other and it was chill. But like being super young, dude, being in year 8 and having those same tools, he would have been decimated, dude.
Yeah. As someone brought up MySpace the other day, and do you remember the fact that you could put your top friends and you chose them?
Yeah.
You chose to display 5 people that were your besties.
Dude.
And then imagine the conflict it used to, like, what do you mean? Why am I not on your top friends?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I think as dudes, I never had that issue, but chicks would have been at each other's throats.
Big time.
Bro, do you remember?
But we would have just done it silently.
Yeah.
We would have just been like, oh,
Yeah.
What do you mean? I'm not in Joel's top friends.
You can't. Yeah.
We hang out. What the fuck?
Remember,
Am I a loser?
do you remember on MySpace you can also put a theme song? So when someone clicks on your profile, dude, do you know what I used to have for a while? There's a movie called Rumper Stomper. It's like the Aussie skinhead movie with Russell Crowe, and the song's like pulling up the boots and strapping on the braces, shaving our heads and tying up the laces. Now you are a skinhead looking for a fight. Skinhead running through the night. Dude, I just seen the movie.
That was your MySpace song?
Yeah. I remember a couple of the dudes who were like, because you knew everyone in school. A couple of the dudes I didn't even talk to were like, hey man, that's pretty hectic. Like, what's up with this? Like, it was funny as. But one thing I liked about, and maybe the kids these days have a similar experience, but probably not, because like you had the computer, like on Insta, it's like flick, roll. You've got so many memes and other stimuli that you wouldn't really respond to messages as quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But like on MySpace MSN, it was right there. It was like a screen. It was like a Teams meeting. It was like boom, boom, boom. You just click on stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Teams or Slack. And I met so many people that I went to school with who were in grades above or below me on MySpace MSN. You just talk to them, dude. So like I probably like maybe say 2 words to them at school, but you talk to them on MySpace MSN. Like for example, perfect example is like the grade below me had some like kids who were into metal as well. So they'd like kind of float around me and be like, yeah. And like I'd talk to them, and then there was a kid in a grade below them and he had some really good music taste. So those kids in the grade below me got me onto this kid, and I would talk to this kid and he'd send me some sick metal songs, right? I never spoke to the kid once, and whenever I saw him in school, I just see him and be like, because I'm not going to walk over and talk to a kid 2 years younger than me.
I'm the guy from MSN.
Yeah, but like you'd go there and be like, hey, dude. And then years later when you're on Facebook and stuff, you see him, you're like, oh, this kid's fucking, he goes to the gym now, or he's married. Like it's just a weird dynamic, you know?
So strange.
Yeah. But I legit, I fuck with MSN hard, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Do you remember that?
Just the
the little like things that people would open it up and it pops up on their screen.
Yeah, or the nudge.
Yeah. Yeah.
So annoying. But also the I think the main thing that I liked is the disconnect of it. Like
it's like BRB going for dinner.
To BRB. Nobody BRBs anymore.
Yeah.
Because their shit is in their pocket at all times.
And another thing on top of that is like, I'm not sure if you grew up like the same situation as me, but I had siblings in the house as well as parents and shit. So like,
you'd share the computer?
Share the computer, dude. So I'd be like, oh, Joel, your time on the computer's done. Fuck off. Your brother wants to hop on.
IGTG. Yeah. Because my brother's hopping on FML.
Yeah.
Did you say FML? No, I don't think.
No.
FML didn't exist.
But and then everyone would go to bed, and then you'd wait for everyone to go to bed and you'd say goodnight to everyone, and then you'd quickly sneak onto your computer again, which is in the living room, which is right next to everyone. And it'd say that fucking stupid startup
dial-up
thing. And then you'd be talking to the last 3 people who were like night owls as well. Dude, we got to be the coolest generation. Like, not as cool as those who maybe fought in World Wars.
I think every generation thinks that.
Dude, we had scrape our knees playing around in the kindergarten. Then we had the first phones, first computers, the early video games, Xbox, Nintendo, PlayStation. We had MSN, dude. And now look at us, like we're only in our 30s.
Yeah.
And we've got all this shit, dude.
We've done a lot of changing of how shit works through our time. But one thing my mum said the other day, she was telling a story, and she's a kid in Germany, and she's like, I remember going out into the street, into the neighborhood one time. She was like, oh, why is nobody out? Like
because it's a Sunday.
No, there's no other. Yeah, that in Germany is a real thing. But she went out and she was like, why is nobody out in the streets? Like there's no one to play with. And then she heard all the houses just erupt with goal. So everyone was watching the soccer. She's like, oh, everyone's watching the soccer, like the football, sorry, which is now football again. She's like, everyone's watching the football. Fine. And it just made me click, and I'm like, holy shit, you used to go outside expecting other kids to be out there so that you can converse with them and play with them and interact with them. Nowadays, You ain't interacting with strangers outside. You walk outside, you're like, ugh, other people. Ugh.
Yeah.
So it used to be like, oh, I want to play with someone. I'll just go outside.
Yeah.
And the neighborhood kids will be there. I mean, I kind of did that when I was young. Like, I remember where we lived in Germany. We lived in this little, it wasn't a gated community, but it was like, there was like
kind of like an estate.
Yeah, it was the main road, and then there was like the car parks, and then there was just like walking paths to all like the units and stuff.
I walked through a lot of places like that in Germany. I was like, remember, you might have seen a picture of me. I posted a thing on my story. I was like having a beer in a park.
Yes.
Yeah. And I was like, dude, where that lake pond thing was, you walk and it was just like house.
Yep.
You keep walking, there's a fucking Autobahn right there.
And it's just walking paths. And like, I'm probably biased, but it's such a cool setup if you have kids, because they're not near a road, but they're still running around. We had like the little plastic tractors with the pedals that you'd ride around on, our bikes. I had it was called a ket car, which was like a little go-kart thing with pedals that I would ride around on. It was like a little race car. And we would just go around, and there was a little sand pit in the middle, and there was like a little square that we would go around.
Other kids, you'd be like, hey, I like the way you dig that sand, motherfucker. Let's be friends.
Legit. Hey, man, I like your cookie shape thing. What is that? Legit.
So, my trip to Europe, I won't go into the nitty gritty details. But
I want the nitty gritty details. You love the nitty gritty details.
Well, I'm trying to, I'm a reformed nitty gritty. I don't want to do the gritty.
Give me the gritty.
Flew to Singapore. It was about 6 hours. Got to Singapore. Saw no Singaporeans. I found every person I saw was like Indian, which was kind of like.
Wait, you got off in Singapore? You left the airport, or you just layover?
Oh, it was a layover. Yeah. It was probably like an hour and a half.
How nice is Singapore airport though?
I must have been in the dodgy area because like the carpet was like old and yellow stained and.
Okay, maybe it's just aged a bit.
Ingus bingus, you know.
It didn't have the big, round waterfall thing.
SkyTrain was sick. Nah, dude, I didn't see that. I was
maybe that's not Singapore. Maybe I'm.
That was a bad one, dude. That was a burrito, babe. You're gonna smell it too. I'm sorry. No, I must have been in a quadrant section because like as soon as
certain terminal,
I got off and they were like, "Oh, your transfer flight code doesn't exist," and I was like, "Here we fucking go." And then
right, you're like, "I've heard these stories."
Yeah,
I was on this podcast that my friend and I did, and he told me these stories.
Yeah,
I've heard this.
My bag's in Hawaii now.
Yeah.
I spoke to him, and someone else said, "Oh, I speak to them." I was like, "Oh, you're fine. Get on the SkyTrain." So I SkyTrained it for like 3 minutes, and then my plane was basically there. And then from there it was like a 12-hour flight to Munich. And
tell me, we didn't finish this conversation at the very beginning.
Yeah.
How did you deal with this flight? What did you do? The 12 hours, right?
I hate turbulence, dude. I hate
Was there turbulence?
Did
you get a bit?
This was boom, 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 kind of. And like, I'm going to die here.
Yeah.
So at one stage I was like, the cool thing about the in-flight entertainment is you've got movies, TV shows, podcasts.
What airline?
I flew Lufthansa.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What was from here to Singapore with Singapore Airlines?
Lufthansa.
Both
Lufthansa
nice,
was very, very much like, you're on a German plane, we are efficient, you will survive. But the turbulence, dude, because what they do is like, they've got 3 different degrees of turbulence. If it's normal turbulence, like the bumpy, like the regular rocking, like rock you to sleep, that's unavoidable. Sorry, you can't escape it. The second one's kind of like a bit more bumpier. That one's where because the technology is so sophisticated, they'll avoid wind currents. But the biggest issue is if they're cruising at a super high speed, you're going to get more turbulence, so they'll slow down. So sometimes you'll feel the plane slow down a bit and the turbulence disappears, but they're still going through the same direction. And then the third one's where it's like, tuck your ass, kiss your own asshole goodbye, you know?
Anything that we would have experienced, I reckon would have been like level 1 because there is some hectic shit. Every time it happens, because obviously I don't think anyone likes it, but some people might just be like, eh.
Yeah.
But like, I'm the same. If it's like a little bit fucking crazy, I'm like, okay, everything's fine. This is normal. The plane can flex. It's all good.
Yeah.
But like my worst fear is not, I don't think like, well, my immediate thought is I'm going to die, but I don't think that in my conscious brain. But my worst fear is like, I really hope this doesn't turn into like really bad turbulence. I'm like, I can do in life without experiencing that. Like where it like drops 10 feet or something.
Oh, dude.
And the cart goes.
Yeah. And you hear like cracking crash sounds. What always bothers me is it's like, I feel it's every second flight you're on, no matter if it's domestic or international, when they, just as the plane's going off, you smell fuel.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, is this supposed to be happening? And then my safety, and for anyone who's never really flown before or ever listens to this, my safety is always look at the stewardesses. Because if they're calm as a fucking cool, calm, still serving people, you usually know. But I have had some stewardess, like on these flights in Europe, they're like, sit down, like pointing at their other co-workers. So I was like, oh, we're going to fucking die here. Oh, we're going to die. And a pastrami sandwich.
Bro, but I always, whenever you think of that and you think stewardesses being calm, I think of the 9/11 memorial that I went to, and they have the recordings of the stewardesses calling ground.
So super calm.
Yeah, and they were like, someone's been murdered, and I think we've been hijacked, and they're just like super calm. And I'm like,
Phil, don't tell me that shit.
These people are going to die, and they are just calm as fuck. They are trained for this.
Yeah, so like, yeah, I ended up on the way to Munich. I ended up just fucking listening to like meditation music.
Nice. I've done that before too.
Dude, I've found just focusing on your breathing helped, and then like next thing I knew, I was like, oh, it's clear now, and it was great. And that's the thing is like I think over time, when you experience different degrees of turbulence, and you realize it's not permanent. Like it's a bit bumpy now, but it's going to chill out in the next maybe 5 or 6 minutes, and it does. You just get, well, okay, it's a bit bumpy now, but it's gonna pass.
Well, that's my fear. I'm like, is it going to get worse? Yeah. And I really don't want it to.
Well, here's the thing. I found these fucking Germans, man. I found every other flight ever, they made adjustments, but the Germans were like, we are going full speed through the gale. You know,
they're like, we have hit some turbulence.
Cool.
Go full throttle.
Yeah. In a Vish eyes, that song comes on. It's like, what? So I arrived to Deutschland and it's 6 a.m.
Oh, that's right.
Can't check in until 2. I think I messaged you at the
were
airport.
Messaging me,
I was like sitting out next to a Starbucks in the airport. When we went outside, dude, it's the first time it was like, you know, it's been warm in Australia for a while now because it's around December time, whatever. Hasn't been felt like winter for an age. And then when you have our winters, it's cold. It's like, oh, it's brisk. I got to put on a jumper.
Like 10 degrees cold.
Yeah. But if coming from a boiling hot day and then you go into a bottle shop and you open up the cold section and it hits you, that times like 50 is what I experienced when I went out inside in Germany. I was all rugged up anyways. And I went out there, I was like, it wasn't like in Australia, you kind of see your breath a little bit. It was like I could speak syllables and it would fucking, you'd see like letters form. I could be like J. It's like fucking Seinfeld, Sesame Street, J, O, B, you know? So I was like, oh, fuck, this is cold. This is sick. And I was like, this is great.
What was the temperature?
Probably
December.
Like,
it's like winter, right?
4 or 5 degrees or something.
Yeah.
So I got on an Uber, went to the place and just went, hey, look, it's a nice little hotel. It's like right next to an Autobahn. I was like, do you have a locker where we could leave our shit? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. And it was a Saturday. So they left our shit in a locker. And then I just went into the town center and it was so nice, dude. It was like something out of like a movie. It was like probably 7:30 in the morning.
People drinking beer.
No, stalls was getting set up. People like putting their deli food and everything out, and the dung 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 dung. It was just like
church bells.
Yeah, and it was clean. It was organic. And here's the biggest thing for me, dude. It's not like, oh, I'm in a certain area. There's flowers or something around here. Every single country I went to in Europe had its own smell. Like if you walk around Sydney, it just smells like a concrete-y air smell, right? Like it's like whatever, and you walk past a tree and it smells like a tree now. No, everywhere smelt the same. It smelt like a sweet oaky smell. Germany was like a sweet oaky smell mixed with fuel because people just vroom, vroom, you know. walked around, felt out the vibes, got some fucking German beers, had a meal. You would have seen that video of me with those little sausages and shit.
Yeah.
Everything was fucking.
We tired as fuck.
Oh, dude, I was.
How did you go for sleep through the flight?
I didn't sleep.
Didn't
Never
sleep.
Never slept
Fuck.
once. If I could
Rough.
in all my time 2 weeks in Europe and all the flights I had, which is probably about 4, I probably got collectively 5 hours of sleep.
On the flights?
On
Or?
all flights together.
Fuck.
Yeah. I'd probably doze off for 30 seconds and my body would be like, no, you're going to die soon. Wake up. You need to be alert. Plane's going to crash any minute. Like, I can't do it, dude. A Valium for sure.
Yeah. I was going to say, that sounds like you would, because people say, like, just go to your GP and say, I'm afraid of flying, and then you'll get Valium. For you, that's legit. Like, you're like,
dude.
I cannot sleep because I'm afraid I'm going to die. So give me that fucking Valium.
Both. You know, it was a good time. Like Germany was clean, efficient, nice. You know, I was riding around on my bike on kind of like on a pavement thing. And this old guy's like stopped me in this massive busy crowd and was like, get the fuck off the pavement. I was like, okay. I had to get off the road to let a car go past and hop back on. But he's like, no. I was like, all right. But I'll tell you what bothered me about Munich. I went to, like, I only wanted to eat traditional foods. I just wanted sauerkraut. I wanted Kranskis and beer. That's all I wanted to eat.
Did you have a pork knuckle?
I did. Yeah.
You did?
Gorgeous, dude.
Good,
amazing.
good.
Pretzels, all that jazz.
Leberkuss.
I went to a McDonald's to just like sit there for a bit and get a McDonald's coffee and take a piss. And then
I think that's an interesting thing when you go to something like McDonald's, because they'll have like specific things on the menu that don't exist anywhere else.
I didn't see anything exotic, dude. There was no corn. There was no rice, nothing. Yeah. And look, dude, portion sizes were the same as Australia, same price, all that shit.
That's the whole thing with McDonald's, isn't it? That was the whole thing that made them so popular, is that their entire goal or their mission statement was that you were supposed to be able to get a cheeseburger in any McDonald's and it would be exactly the same.
They've done it.
Consistency.
They've done it, yeah. I go down the stairs of this McDonald's in Munich and there's this tall black dude standing there leaning over this like little dais, and he had a plate with like couple of little, like maybe 2 or 3 little coins in there, shrapnel. He's like, hey man, you want to use the toilet? And I was like, yeah. He's like, you would have to pay to use it. And I looked at him and I looked around the toilet and I went, nah, and just walked past him and he didn't say shit. Oh. And then funny enough, I got down the stairs. He was over my shoulder here and I looked and they didn't have like the to denote male, female. I was like, what the fuck? And he went, hey. And I looked over, he's like, it's that one for males. I was like, thanks, mate. And I went and took a piss. And as I walked back out, I walked up the stairs and like stopped next to him. And I was just like, looked at him in the face. I was like, you have a good day, mate. Like real patronizing dude. I was like, you fucking rat. I went up the stairs. I went straight to the lady at the counter. I was like, do you know there's a cunt downstairs, trying to rip off people? She couldn't speak English. She's like, oh, I'm sorry. Most places in Europe, dude, I found was amazing.
English?
They'd be like, and then you'd be like, oh, English. And they'd be like, how are you? Just so quick, dude. I was baffled. Not just Germany, Prague, Poland, everywhere. I spoke to her and I think what she thought I was saying is that someone was trying to like harass people at the bathroom. And then I was like, no, he's trying to charge me money. And I told him to fuck off. I'm like saying, and like giving her the finger and shit. And she's like, okay. And then she like walked over. And then she like leaned over the balcony and then like walked over and just like, I was like, she's like, oh, all good. And I was like, okay, went down, actually got like my coffee and then she walked back over and she didn't look at me and go all taken care of like an Aussie would do. She just went straight back to her thing, stern, angry German face. And then I like walked back down just before I left finishing my coffee and the cup was still there. So I was like, bitch didn't do shit. This is the state.
This seems weird because that seems like he's trying to rip people off, but in Germany, there is a lot of bathrooms where you do need to pay. Yeah, like it is a real thing. Like they have like the doors are shut off and you have to literally pay money to get in.
They're all automated. Like when I was at the train station, when I left Germany, Munich to go to Prague, I caught a train, like the Eurorail, and they had a section where it's like you pay like 4 or 5 euros or something, maybe like €1.50.
Yeah.
And you can, doors open, you take a piss and then you leave and it's like you get a little token. It wasn't like that there, dude. It was just like a dude being a piece of shit. So I'm walking around Munich. This is the day after I got there, which was a Sunday. So obviously nothing was open, but I'm still like sick. I did like a bike tour and shit around. Like
beautiful.
American dude showed us. It was sick. We went around and he was asking questions and he was like, oh, why, we went to all these beautiful places and there was all Americans. It was only Americans basically, but they're all chill as fuck. Americans are usually loud. And
that's pretty crazy too. Because normally it's like the Aussies are traveling. The Americans don't travel that much.
I met no Aussies.
What?
I was kind of depressed.
They all went to Japan.
Probably, yeah. Before I got on the second day on the bike tour, I went to a different McDonald's maybe a couple meters down the street to get another coffee because these motherfuckers open at 10 and it was like 7:58. And I was like, McDonald's is the only place open. I went in there again. Now I went upstairs to go to the toilet instead of down. There's a black girl there, high schooler for sure. Probably his fucking daughter. There's probably a racket.
His daughter.
Yeah, his daughter. I get there and there was like 3 people standing in this line getting their wallets out. And she's like, oh, no. And her coins plate was way more. And I pushed in front of the line and she went, no, you have to pay to go in. I went, no, you don't. And she went, and I turned around, looked at the people and I said, oi guys, just go in. And I don't know what nationality they all were. Some of them, I think they were like South American. They were like, put their shit back. And I all went in there, dude. I just fucking.
She decimated her.
She didn't do shit.
They're literally probably the cleaners and just trying to get tips.
Oh, for sure, dude. Yeah. What was interesting though is that she had somehow managed to secure herself a McDonald's apron. She was wearing the apron, but she had nothing else.
No way.
So I was like, you sneaky little cunt. So as I walked back out.
Next minute, she's an actual McDonald's employee. She's like, that guy just walked all over me. They're like, why didn't you make it pay?
Yeah. What's bothering me is
he told everyone that they don't have to pay.
Yeah. I walk out and she's sitting there and this couple's about to pull their money out. And I went, hey guys, no. It was like a young girl. I was like, this is probably at like 28 or something. I was like, hey, well, no. It's like the black girl's right here. Like her nose is basically touching my shoulder. I'm like super close and the lady's here because like a narrow corridor. I was like, hey, you don't have to pay. Go on in. And she went, no, wait. And I went, no, don't listen to her. Just go on in. And she went, okay, and went in. And I looked at her and she didn't say shit to me, dude. I was like, I just want to say, you fucking cunt. This is why Germans are getting all weird now and people are freaking out. And I didn't say that. So I just left. But next day, got on a train, got to Prague. Again, had to wait. It was sick. Weather was nice. Prague was colder than Germany, but I was wearing shorts and a shirt and I was walking around all the time. Like it was probably like cold, like below 10, but I don't know, the sun was out. So I was walking a lot. Great beer. Not as clean and like as Germany, but it still had that Euro vibe. And I realized like once you've been to a single European country, maybe not so much like England, Ireland, Wales, but like once you've been to somewhere in like Western Europe, it all looks the same. Cobblestones, architecture, Christianity, statues, beautiful churches, Gothic. So when I got to Prague, I was like, oh yeah, it's just like pretty much like Germany, but a bit more bohemian. I found like Prague was kind of like the West End, like the new town of Germany. It felt like Germany, but like a West End version. So it was a bit more like, yeah. So hung around there, found out that there was like a Aussie bar.
Oh yeah.
And so we went to this Aussie bar and, it was like Kiwi, Aussie jerseys and full Australiana and meat pie on the menu and no Aussie beers. I think they maybe had like VB or something in like a cabinet where you can pull it out. But I was just getting the Urquell Pilsners, dude. That was so good. And then we got there that night. They had a fucking, like a music trivia. And then all the tables and shit, we had to sit at the bar and eat like right at the fucking, it was real awkward. And then, we're like, oh, we might as well stay for the trivia. Like, fuck it, why not? And then we managed. The guy came over. He's like, hey, dude, these people didn't rock up, so you've got like a whole table. It's like a 6-seater. So we sat down. It was just me and my brother. And then
it was just you two, right?
Yeah,
traveling. You and Sean.
Yeah. And then while we're sitting there, we started to do the trivia, and it was like actually quite like I could do Simpsons trivia or something.
Were they
like
doing
that,
English questions?
Yeah. But I was getting my ass kicked, dude. The guy was behind the bar was like, oh, there's an Aussie, a dude who's from here but lived in Australia for a while, so that's why he made the theme. But there's another Aussie guy from Australia who comes here quite often. We're like, oh yeah, fair enough. And he actually walked in. He was somewhat of like a celebrity. He was like a young fella, dude. He was probably like 28, 25 or 28, bushy hair.
He's like TikTok.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, dude, he was like, I think he might have been gay because he was kind of like, oh my God. But he was just like, yeah. And everyone was like shaking his hand and shit. I was like, this is weird. But there was just groups of people everywhere just having a good time. And he went and sat in a corner, and then over my shoulder was this like table full of Americans who were studying and doing work in Prague.
Oh, no way.
So two babes from their table left, which is kind of shit. And then me and Sean were just chilling there, and then they're like, hey, we lost 2 people. Do you want to join us? We can just consolidate things. It was only like 4 or 5 questions in. So we joined their table, and then we ended up just chatting and getting amongst it.
Nice.
And that table there knew the Aussie dude. So like he came over and we introduced ourselves. And do you know when you meet an Aussie overseas, you're like, fuck yeah, mate, how you going?
Yeah, it's so weird.
Didn't have that vibe with this dude. He was like standoffish, kind of like you could talk to him and be like, yeah, mate, how are you? But there was just a bit of a detachment there. So I was like, whatever. But the chick sitting next to me was a Kiwi. So there was like a familiarity. It was a comfortable. Nice. The Americans were all loud and obnoxious. There was one chick who was like a female version of Jim Carrey. I actually got her on Insta, dude. She was gas. She was pretty funny. And then that was Prague. You know, toured and walked around and went to the fucking absinthe bar and did all that shit. Good times. And then we went over to Poland. I based this whole trip around wanting to go to Auschwitz, and also wanting to go to Transylvania because I wanted to see Dracula's castle. But that when I was planning the trip was way far out, and it just so I had to but one of the staples of the thing was just to go to not to all of Poland, but just to Krakow and then inside. So got to Poland, a train, bus. We were in some like sick hotel that was kind of almost like it was a hotel, but it had a backpacker vibe to it. And everyone in there, dude, was at least like 19 years old and younger. So when I walked in there, I was like, fuck, like there's no way I'm going to try to chat up any chicks here. They're so young. So many Italians overseas at the time. Germany, Prague, Poland. Must have been like a holiday for some. Italian women were the most gorgeous women I'd seen. They're like German women were gorgeous. They had thick thighs. One thing I noticed, they all had big legs. So, whoa, naturally big legs.
They got the long legs.
Yeah. Chicks from Prague were just like, you know, it was like Australia, you know, good ones and bad ones. Chicks in Poland had a very sexy Eastern European look. They'd carry themselves with pride, and they were very poised, and they'd have like nice clothing and fur coats. But if you spoke to them, they'd be very sweet. But yeah, when you get to Italy, it's like 8 out of 10 women in Italy are fucking hot. Like you put a ring on it, you know? Went to Krakow, organized a tour in Australia to do like a bus will pick you up from your hotel. Beautiful. They'll take you to Auschwitz and also like this salt mine. This famous salt mine, which is a little bit out of the city, maybe like 30 minutes.
Like a day trip.
Yeah. So I slept in, got up a bit late. The bus was supposed to pick me up at 8. I fucking got up like 7, had a quick shower, went out, it's cold, found, you know, again, Europe, fucking open your fucking stores earlier, you cunts. So everyone's opening at 10 and shit. So
they're sleeping in.
Yeah, I finally found a place, 8, and then when I got back to the hotel, I had to quickly run up and like take a piss and do all this shit. While I'm taking a piss, this woman calls me and goes, hey, we're the bus trip. You know, we have other people to pick up. It's 8:01. You're supposed to be here at 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I'll be down in 2 seconds. Yeah, but you're supposed to be here at 8. I literally looked, it's 8:02. I'm like, cunt, fuck, shut the fuck up. Went downstairs. She gave me a hard time. Got on the bus. Picked a bunch of other people up. There's traffic anyways, dude. We were going to be fucking late. Went to the salt mine. It was beautiful, dude. You were like 60 stories down, like 60 flights of stairs.
What?
Into the salt mine. Beautiful, like it's architect, like you can see where dudes have carved a path, like Mines of Moria, Lord of the Rings style. And then there was like big like Christianity carvings of things, and they had like here was Prince Malungia who had to travel miles to marry a baron who gave her this salt mine as a gift and all this other shit. It's gorgeous, dude. I'll send you some pictures if you want to upload it to the video. Yeah. The lady's like, okay, guys, so we're going to start with the salt mine first, something a bit positive, and then we'll end the day with something a bit more negative, which is Auschwitz. That's what she sounded like. And she had because she had the
in
mic.
The little mic.
Auschwitz, yeah. So we do that. We get to
Auschwitz,
dude.
ASMR.
Yeah. Polish chick. We get to Auschwitz, dude. And it's like it's like Fort Knox, bro. It's like going through like an FBI checkpoint. Oh. People are lining up. You've got different countries and like, you know, a lot of Italians again, a lot of fucking Israeli kids, you know, high school kids, I guess, with like Israeli flags and whatever. Our group finally gets through. It's like any metal object. It's like going through the airport. Metal objects, shit, take it off, boom, 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 go through. It was pretty chill. Like I didn't feel pressed, but it was just like make sure your hat's off, belts, jewelry, wallet, whatever. We get in there, and it was interesting. It was like
what was like the vibe?
You've seen so many pictures, you've seen so many videos, so you know what it's going to be like, right? It's just the building blocks, and it's like a sandy path through. Each building's like if you went to an old high school and they just ripped out all the furniture. It's just like concrete walls. You go there and they've had pictures set up from like, you know, what this room used to look like. They've kept some of the bunks in there for you to see. The tour guide talks to you about, you know, this is what this happened, this is what that happened. But dude, I felt nothing.
Really?
I felt, I just felt like this has happened and it was 100 or something years ago and it's super intense, but it was just
not even.
Yeah, not even, but it was just like, you know what? I don't think it was that I wasn't empathetic. I just felt like it was hard to digest that right here.
Yeah.
Someone probably was killed or hung, you know? And so we just went on this and there was just building.
Maybe it's the fact that you were like part of a tour and it was a bit too...
So crowded, dude.
Yeah.
You'd be going down a narrow, like a 2-meter hallway and another tour group's coming. So you're having to like sideways step. And it was like quick, you know, quick through a room, you know.
But no eerie feeling, no like.
I swear to God, if I went there at night or I was there first thing in the morning, it was just me walking around, I'd feel eerie.
You had your phasmophobia tools, torch.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
EMF readers going off.
Yeah.
But the thing was,
Anne Frank?
Yeah.
Is that you? Are you in here? Anne Frank?
when you so there was two sites, dude. There was Auschwitz and then Birkenau.
Yeah.
Now Auschwitz was kind of like the administration buildings. So this is where the Nazi officers did paperwork. You know, they brought people here. The early days, they had some of these buildings were used as withholding people, maybe some more higher end people. But later on was Birkenau. So when I'm walking around this place, it just felt more like the administration office. I felt like I was in a room of where these people operated, where they did the paperwork, where they dragged people, where they interrogated people. So that's why it didn't feel so, you know, making sounds. So we weren't allowed to go into every single, so it was like, you know, building, barbed wire, like nest, building. So we probably went into like building number 5, came out building number 7, building number 14. We didn't get to go in every single one. Some people did, some people didn't. I don't think I missed out on anything. Like, oh, this building's like you pay a deluxe thing to get into there. It was nothing like that. It was just every building was the same. I did go through the section where they had all the shoes, all the hair, all the suitcases, all the glasses. Yeah, it was interesting, dude. It was like, holy fuck. So many shoes, so many glasses and suitcases and stuff. And it's just like, you can tell they'd been water damaged and weathered and shit. And that part was like, oh, fuck, you know? And then as soon as we left
Someone wore those shoes.
Hey?
Someone wore those shoes.
Someone wore those shoes.
They were taken off them.
People. Dude, they were tiny people. All the shoes were tiny, dude. Yeah. It's like you know what it's like? For me personally, it's like being an adult and wanting to feel that Christmas spirit that you had when you were a kid. I wanted to,
but in a negative way.
No,
Yeah.
I wanted to cry, dude. I wanted to feel something. I wanted to be like, oh, I wanted to.
I think you probably built it up too much
Probably,
in your mind.
Yeah. So we walked out back into the main parking lot where all the other groups are chilling. Still at the whole time, no matter where I was in Europe, I'm like, can I hear Aussies? Can I see Aussies? Nothing, dude. And then we got on the bus and then drove like maybe 3 minutes down the road. And then that's where you see like the main thing, like the big wooden cabins and the massive train, Birkenau, right? Where you see in Schindler's List and all the stuff that was basically Birkenau. And then we got off there and the train line was huge. And then we'd walk over in a tour group. And by the end, it was about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So a lot of tour groups had gone home. So it was a bit more open. It's cold. It was getting fucking cold as well. We walked over into some of the housings for the Jews. And you had bunk, like just planks of wood. I remember from that thing that we listened to that time when we drove back from Brisbane, it was like, if anyone slept on the end of the bed, they were going to die because there was nothing covering your back. So that's what was in my mind when I was looking. I'm a toucher, dude. I touched everything. Forgot to mention when I was at Birkenau, I walked into one of the gas chambers that was still there. It was like, that was the fucking eerie moment, dude, because it was like just concrete, vent, and then
nothing.
Yeah, nothing. And that vent was right next to where one of the commanders lived. So like he would have like sat there from his window having a durry and just watching that, They had to leave the confines to go into his personal area to do that. So it was very sadistic. So right behind the bunks was the latrine. So the latrine and the bunks were basically in the same thing, dude. And it was just a concrete hole the whole way through. And I kept thinking, like what the tour guide said to us was like, they would give you 10 seconds to relieve yourself and then move on.
What?
And like, dude, because you're not eating, you're just eating soup and a bit of potato and a bit of like hard moldy bread. You'd be squirting you wouldn't have a healthy bowel movement. It'd be squirt, maybe a bit of blood in your stool as well. So it'd be like, and then move on. But I was just like, fucking hell.
And back in those days, and this would have been even worse conditions, but like before toilet paper and shit, people had like a stick with a sponge on the end and you would just fucking clean your ass with that after you shat and hand it to the next person.
That's what the Romans did, dude.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they still did it in Europe.
That was luxury.
What the Romans
I don't know if they did that at all.
They dipped it in vinegar. That's how they desanitized it. So that bucket would have just been a fucking cesspool,
vinegar
dude.
shice.
Checked out some more of those places, walked up a little bit further where they had a big monument. And then on either side, so it's like the train line, male, female housings. And then at the end of both, 2 gas chambers, dude, and then a monument. Behind was where the train came through, where we entered.
Did you see the gate?
The gate.
Arbeit macht frei?
Yeah. I've got the picture of it on my Insta. That's what was behind me, dude. And both gas chambers and some other buildings behind were just, they were like, okay, the Russians are coming. They detonated it, dude. So it was just like concrete pillared. Yeah, it was all just.
Oh, they've left it the way it.
Yeah. And I was like, man, I wonder if there's like helmets or casings or something. I'll take it. But there was like barricades there, like not huge barricades, just like a tiny little yellow plastic chain. I could have stepped over it and just touched the rubble, dude. Obviously, why would I do that? Busted back. Next day, went to Austria from Poland. Now, I was stoked to be going back to Austria because it's basically Germany again, right? Prague, Czech Republic, and Poland had their own currencies, which is fine, but I was back to euros. I was like, oh, more money to spend. Great. But it was like raining as soon as I got there.
Arnold's country.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Missed the train that I paid $100-something for from Poland to Thingo. The guy told us where to go. We waited there, but the train had pulled up on the other side. So the guy fucked us over. So we went over and said, cunt, did we get a refund? What did we do? He's like, I can't help you. It was like 6 a.m. or something in the morning. He's like, the next one's at 4 p.m. I was like, I'm not waiting in Poland again a whole day. So I quickly went up to the bus section, the Greyhound section, said, what can you guys go? And they go, in in the next 6 minutes, you've got a bus.
Oh,
It's 70 euros. It was about 120 bucks, which just sucks. But I was like, all right. But so it's like, but go to that window. We went around to the window. This fucking old farmer cunt was like sitting there waiting. We were like, oh, God. And the lady serving him could see me fidgeting. And then eventually he's, okay. I was like, okay, I need to get on that fucking bus. And then we got on, which was fine. So it was like a 4-hour trip, which was nice. Got there. And it was raining. And what I wanted to do in Austria was just go and visit Mozart's grave and then just, see St. Stephen's Cathedral. And then, I was itchy. And then, I actually, it's actually itchy,
at Mozart's grave.
Yeah. Went there, went up to a bar. And this is the first time I actually experienced, because most of the Germans aren't like, hey guys, what can I get you? They're like, what can I get you? And they're like, okay, you want that? Yeah, no worries. Perfect. But this is the first time I experienced rude Europeans. I went to the fucking.
Oh, no way.
I went into
in Austria.
Yeah. I went upstairs to this mall because I went to the sick hotel. The hotel was basically, imagine Queen Street, Elizabeth Street, in the shopping district. My hotel was there. So I walk out and I've got all the shops. It was awesome. And I told the lady behind the counter at the hotel, the stewardess, whatever, she was fat as fuck. So I was like, where's a good place to eat traditional German, Austrian food, Austro-Hungarian, whatever. And she was like, right across the road, see that hotel there? You could see through the window. She's like, at the top of that building, you can actually see she was like, it's like a fucking nice Flügen. So I went there. Imagine the Bavarian, but a bit more less commercial. Went in there. It was like a sick bar. Ordered some food. The guy comes over and he was like, oh, what kind of beer do you want? I was like, I'll get the house beer liter. And he's like, oh, no. He's like, no, sir. If you look here, sir. It's just kind of rude shit like that. He's like, I think he was just an old dude and that's his custom. He's like, it's 500 ml only. And I was like,
you're like, okay, I'll get the half a loser.
Yeah. And the same within Germany, dude. They don't have the liter, dude. So I'm drinking 5.
Who the fuck drinks 500 ml when you've been practicing your liter skills?
Exactly, dude. I never had a single liter in Europe.
Not even in Deutschland?
No, they wouldn't serve it to me.
Why not?
Because it wasn't the theme at the time, I guess.
Nah.
So I'm telling you.
Come on.
So I cruised around Austria. I was only there for 2 days. It was raining a lot. So I was like, this is dunkel, But did a lot of shopping. Went to see Mozart's grave. Went to the church and stuff, but because it was raining, because I hadn't taken a single break, it was nice to just chill. Now, the night before we catch a flight from Austria to Italy, we go out on the piss. Well, we just wanted to find a bar and have a drink. We go to a couple of bars and then we find this one, and there was some chicks out the front having cigarettes, and they were looking at me, and I was looking at them. I was like, oh yeah, cool. And then we go in, sit down at this table. All cash, fucking so sick. He's like, no, I'll serve you. Just go find an ATM later.
Cash.
Yeah, it's so gay, dude. And then those 2 chicks come in and they were looking around. I was like, hey, ladies, you want to sit with us? And they're like, yeah, what's up? And they sat there and we're talking to them real sweet, humble chicks, kind of one's a metalhead. And then the other one was just both had boyfriends, but
a metalhead.
Yeah.
You're like, do you know that
she was like a blondie, looked normal, but you could tell she was like, yo. And then the brunette was kind of wifey material, dude. She was real pretty and kind and sweet and chick who would like an Amish woman would, clean my clothing. But I was just chatting with her all night, and then they were like, oh, we have more friends coming. We're going to go out to a club later. Do you want to come? We're like, yeah,
Dawson.
Fuck yeah. So more people came. This hot as Asian chick, half Asian, half German or something was there. And then some other people rocked up, and then it was just a good time. We're just drinking and have a good time. When we moved to another bar, and then I was talking to this brunette chick, and I was like, oh, you've got a boyfriend. What's he like? And she was kind of like, I don't want to talk about him, kind of thing. Let me talk about you more. So I got the vibe maybe she was not that into him anymore or something. But I convinced her to invite him out because I wanted to size him up. And he came, and he was just a really
size him up.
He was a nice guy, but he was like a weasel man, And so I was just kept kind of flirting with her that night. And then we went to this club, and then we go down there, check our coats and shit, fool, check your coat, kids.
Yeah.
Got pissed, and then we started dancing in this dance floor. It was sick, dude. It was proper, yeah, welcome to Europe. Yeah. the fucked up thing was, bro. Yeah, the European like Germanic people, they don't have any rhythm, dude. They were like doing this like real slow stuff, and I was just like busting a move, dude. And they were all like
breakdancing and shit.
People were loving my flow, dude. I was like, and I could see the chick that I've kind of been flirting with, her boyfriend, like she was like loving my shit, dude. She was like, ha. And then I'd like go to the toilet and people would be like patting me on the back, like, yeah, what's up? You are funny. Haha. And I go outside and I was like,
you're like, I'm the funny man.
Yeah. I went outside and I was like having a durry, and I like having a durry with one of the dudes from the group. And then some other random people rocked up and I was making friends with a bunch of random dudes. There's this one dude who looked like Chris Angel. Like he was like this weird dude, but it was like, and then eventually I was like, it's fucking, I said to my brothers, like, bro, like we have a flight at 6, it's 11 o'clock. Should we just like all nighter it and then just catch the plane tipsy or drunk and just see what happens? And he was like, yeah. And then the Asian chick was
like, yeah.
The Asian chick was flirting with my brother. The Asian chick was all over my brother. So like she wasn't like hot like China. She was like really pretty, dude. Like a gorgeous mix. Not that there's anything wrong with Chinese women, obviously. But she, everyone, I was like, all right, well, guys, I'm going back to the hotel room. They wanted to go to other places. I was like, nah, I'm fucking chilling. I want to fucking.
But you were going to stay up or you were going to have a quick nap?
Oh, I think. What
time were you planning on being at the airport?
I think it's about 4:50 when I decided to leave. So I was going to have a 1 hour nap and then quickly get up and hop to the airport.
Oh, wait, you had to leave at 6. Your flight wasn't at 6.
The flight was at 7.
Oh, okay. What? And you were going to leave at 6?
Yeah. It's dumb. The plot thickens. So I says to my brother, I says, go with her in the car and just be back in an hour. Just go fuck it. I don't know where she's gone, but just go for it. He's like, all right. And then
okay.
I get home, fall asleep, I wake up and my brother's in the bed across from me because I was like, oh, we just like save my own bed. And he was like rolling around like, oh, and I was like, what's going on? He was like, oh, I'm just too drunk. I can't get on this flight. Like I'm fucked.
And this is at 6.
Yeah.
And your flight's at 7.
Yeah.
Was the flight at 7, taking off at 7?
Yeah, 7:30 or something like 7:45.
Oh, I was going to say,
so
you got to be there at 6, dude.
Yeah. So I was like, bro. And then we started to argue with each other. He was so drunk, he didn't know where he was. So he started arguing with me and I was like.
How the fuck did he even get back?
I don't know. I never found it out, but he was arguing with me and I was like, dude. And then I got to the point where I was like, I'll see you at the airport. I can't like, I can't, like he's threatening me and shit. Like he was like it was like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. He was this different creature. He was like, I can't. And I was like, all right. So I went to the airport. I was like, figure it out on your own, you motherfucker. I've spent money on this flight. I get to the airport. As soon as I go over there, they're like, you're very late for check-in, but you could probably just make it. We just need your boarding pass. My fucking brother had sent me, we would buy tickets and reservations each. Yeah. He'd send me everything but this one fucking boarding pass, dude.
Oh, no.
And I can't message him and be like, cunt, send me the fucking boarding pass via email because he'd probably be passed out. So she was like, best thing you can do is a flight in about 6 hours at 4 p.m. Just pay us €100 and we can transfer it over. So, fuck. So I had to sit in this airport hungover, exhausted. And then eventually, finally, the flight comes and my brother rocks up. He's like, nee. And so
wait, so you transferred both of you?
No, I just transferred myself. I didn't even know if my brother was going to wake up in 24 hours, dude. He was blind drunk. I'd never seen him so drunk. Wow. I was like, you're on your own.
So did he rock up? Did he get his flight changed? Sorry, I'm cutting ahead of the story. Let's go.
He must have. I never asked him. Never spoke to him about it, dude.
Maybe they did both of you then because you booked it as
could have been, but it would have been fine. Like I would have just been like, all right, fuck it, bro, we'll get another thing. But he started arguing with me, so I was like, fuck you. Like it was like, imagine a very sensible friend of yours getting super drunk and wanting to fight everyone, and then wants to fight you.
Because I imagine Sean being. Very sensible dude.
Like, who are you? What's going on right now? He was like blind. I didn't even know if he rooted that chick, dude. So, anyways, disgraceful. Yeah, she was hot as. Anyways, finally got on the flight to Italy, and it was a super dodgy flight. Like it was like all the Italians were like, just go through. Boarding was dodgy. All the Italians on the flight were like talking and yammering and shit. The plane didn't seem in upkeep. I was like, we're probably going to die. Simple.
I'm seeing a pattern here with you and long flights.
Yeah.
We're probably going to die here.
Oh, dude, the flight from Austria to Italy was like...
Oh, it would have been short.
2.5 hours.
It's just like... It's still an international flight, right? But it's almost domestic because it's just within
that was
Europe.
my problem, dude, because I'm in Italy and everything's so close. I thought, I don't have to be here, but you do have to be at least 2 hours early. So I fucked up. So anyways, get to Italy, still hungover. It was cold in Italy, dude. Like colder than anywhere else I went.
Because coastal.
Yeah. Got out, been told, avoid getting in any random taxi in Italy because they'll charge you extra. So I ordered an Uber. Said we were here. He was there, ran around, finally got to the Airbnb that I ordered, and it was sick, dude. It was a nice little spot. My brother went to bed because he was still hungover, and I went out and just like had like a night, went to all these places, and because I was wearing like a hoodie and like shorts,
Hoodie and shorts out in Italy.
And
in the cold.
And my tattoos were out too. So like everywhere I went, people were like, "Oh no, it's full." But I think they were just like, "We don't want you sitting here."
Yeah, absolutely. Where was your jeans?
Oh, I had plenty of them, dude. But like the good thing about that place is like I was like, I'm only booking places that have washing machines and shit, like Airbnbs and shit. Because like I hate doing 2 days and then knowing I have 2 days worth of dirty clothes mixed in with my other clothes. Yeah. I need to be clean all the time. So, I go out there and I go to this really nice place actually near my hotel. I found it and they let me in and they were talking to me and they were all
with
sweet.
Your shorts on.
Yeah. I was sitting there like, had like a traditional pizza.
You can't Scott VB, bro.
Yeah. I had a traditional pizza, dude. And fuck, I prefer Domino's. Domino's, to be honest. Traditional pizza's like floppy, dude.
Oh, yeah.
It's all deep pan. It's like, it's Italian, so it's better. It's like, no, Domino's is way better, cunt. Like,
you're so Australian.
Yeah.
You've been Australianized.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. So anyways, the best part was like, I was like, bring out the wine menu. I want to look at some wines. I just want a red wine with this fucking pizza. The dude recommends this wine. I wish I got the name of it.
Blew your top off?
Blew my fucking
oh my God,
the top.
yes.
Dude, the wine, do you know how when you drink wine, it has that ammonia sting?
Yeah.
Like that alcoholic sting? It didn't have that. It was smooth, it was rich, it was earthy, it was organic, and it just like, and I was just like, oh, fuck, keep them coming, dude. It was so good. Next day, went out to, got a English guided tour for the Colosseum. So the Colosseum was actually designed by a guy called Flavius something. And so the Colosseum, for those listening, is actually, the Romans would actually call it Flavian's amphitheater. Right? But they used to have a massive Colossus statue out the front of the Colosseum. And so the locals and people visiting and shit didn't know what the building was called. So they would just associate it with the Colossus statue. That's why it's called the Colosseum. I'm doing the fucking Italian hands. Yeah. So like for those listening, it's not called the Colosseum. It's called Flavian's Amphitheater.
Wow.
Went in there, dude. Breathtaking. Now, I felt something here.
Oh, okay.
Because this is like, I mean, this was unreal. You could see where apparently everything used to be all color. It wasn't just stones and then you walk in and are you not entertained? Like they used to have murals everywhere, full colored painting, right? And they had sections, like dignitaries, senators, where the emperor sat, and then peasants. And then they even had a section in the nosebleeds where slaves or people who used to be slaves could observe, right? But everything had marble over it. Everything. Whoa. So it was all the concrete stone, but everything had marble. All the walls, all the sides, steps, everything was marble. So imagine being a stinky peasant person, and then the one place you're actually allowed to go into is like, imagine being a homeless person and then them allowing you to spend a day in like the most expensive Burj Khalifa Hilton you've ever been in. Marble. Like you'd be like, holy fuck, I don't feel worthy, but you were allowed in. That was the cool thing about Rome. And like the fucking peasants would actually sit there and cook food while they were watching the game. It was like a cookout. It was so much shit. So this Italian lady was like walking through. She was so charismatic. She was lovely. She's like, the Italians, they're very particular people. don't worry. If people bump you or whatever, we're going to take our time. So this is what this room looked like. She had a folder. She'd flip it and she'd be like, this is what this room looked like. It was beautiful. Color,
Wow.
marble mosaics. After when Catholicism came along, the Catholics took a lot of cool shit, statues and whatnot. And then nobody took care of the Colosseum, dude. So like the locals would go, well, I need stones for my home. And they'd pull stones out.
They just take the marble?
They take shit.
No
they take
way.
the marble, dude. So you can see segments where the marble was still there, but it's all stone now. So like cunts just fucking like pilfered.
Free marble.
Yeah, it depresses me, dude. And I'll tell you what, I would like, my family's Roman Catholic, but we don't go to church and shit like that. Like my dad was like raised by nuns, like he's diehard, but like my family are chill. But seeing all the places that had that used to be ancient Rome and then they built a fucking Catholic church on top of it.
Yeah.
It made me start to hate Catholicism, dude.
Fuck.
It made me like I fucking vibe with the Romans more because look what they did. We wouldn't have aqueducts, we wouldn't have sewage, we wouldn't have roads, we wouldn't have democracy. Well, there's probably the French, but seeing what the Catholics did, they just like splurged their own shit on top of it. It was really depressing. But yeah, went around Italy, went to Vatican City. It was beautiful. Went into the Sistine, didn't go into the Sistine Chapel. It was like a 2-hour wait. Italy was sick. People were definitely, I'd say Germans were probably a bit more approachable than the Italians. Italians are very standoffish. But yeah. And then I did that, flew from Italy to in Qatar Airlines to Abu Dhabi.
Nice.
About 6 hours. And then from Abu Dhabi, it was about 13 hours. And by that time, it was a bit bumpy. By that time, I was just like, just fucking kill me. I'm done. And then when
you need that Valium.
When we landed into Sydney.
You got to pass out, bro. You got to try and sleep on these things.
When we landed into Sydney, dude, I was just like, fucking, am I alive right now? Is this real? Like,
this is
I never thought I'd get to Sydney. I thought I was going to die.
Yeah. This is
For
all
real.
in how long? 2 weeks? 2 weeks, yeah. That's fucking quick. Fast-paced stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Well, here's the thing. I was supposed to arrive on Saturday at 7:30 and then start work on Monday, and I went, fuck that. So I actually left. I changed my flights and had to pay $800 to change my flights. So I left Thursday afternoon. So I got there Friday night instead.
Oh, you went earlier?
I went
You're like,
earlier.
tap out of this shit.
I was knackered, dude. I knew I had to hit the ground running with work. And I didn't. I couldn't have 1 day of rest. So having 2 days of rest was way better. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was my Euro trip. Obviously, I'm missing out.
Did Sean
on,
come with you?
Yeah,
early?
he did. Yeah. I'm missing out on so much more shit. Like I've glossed over all like the places I went to, drinks, food, people I met, but that was like the
that was the trip.
Much, yeah.
And you had some drama. Excellent.
Yeah.
Had some missed trains, changed planes.
I tell you what, it would have been a good trip if I had like a missus with me and we had a bit more time over there. So that way it would have just been a bit more of a romantic setting. I could have taken a girl out to do play things and drank and fucked and stuff like that. But my brothers are very like, let's go hiking, let's go da. So it was just like nonstop moving.
Doer. Yeah.
But it was good, dude. I fucking did like each city I was in, I probably did like 6 or 7 things. Like it did really, yeah. Best country would definitely be Prague. A lot of people say that, but it was when I got to Italy, it was nice to feel warmth again. So there was
it warmer there? I thought you said it was colder there.
No,
coastal.
the nights were cold. Sorry, I should have mentioned.
Coastal nights.
I'd say Prague just had like a weird vibe that was like I could probably live here. Italy, I feel like if I spent a bit more time experiencing Italy, like Venice, Naples, the quieter versions of it. Like if anyone came to Australia for the first time and they were from like a small country town or something, anywhere, and they experienced the hustle and bustle of Sydney, they'd be like, fuck this place. But if they went other areas, so I think Italy probably would have been my favorite if I spent more time in Italy and if I had a bit more of like a bang, bang, bing, ding. But yeah, Prague was the shit.
Yeah. Prague, eh? Never been to any of them but Germany.
Would you go to those places?
Yeah. Yeah,
would you go to Auschwitz?
100%. I'm meant to go to Prague like at least 2 times that I was in Germany when my American cousins and auntie and uncles were there. They were like, oh, we should do a day trip in Prague. And then there was always something else that I was doing. And I was like,
a day trip, dude. You could probably drive like 3 or 4 hours to get there and then fuck around.
Autobahn it over.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, been meaning to go. Never been.
Prague's got this like beautiful river through it. And I hopped on like a river tour thing where they go around and as the sun's going down. So you see the place as it is, and then you see it when it lights up, which is nice. And they've got this bridge across it with all these beautiful statues. It's a crazy place, dude. Castle on the top of the hill, all this other stuff.
I can't believe you didn't feel anything in Auschwitz. Probably, I reckon I'm too busy, too busy with too many people there.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Like I wanted to. Like,
it's like a picture it being like super eerie.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping. Like it did have an eerie vibe to it for sure, but it wasn't enough to make me be like, ooh.
Yeah.
Like when I went to Pearl Harbor, dude, in Hawaii, I was like, I didn't feel anything either. I was really like trying to imagine like the Japanese bombers coming over and like the sinking of the Arizona and stuff. But
like,
fuck. Yeah.
Fuck. Did you go? So you went in Germany, you went to Hofbrauhaus?
I went to, yeah.
Or where was the
Chinese Garden?
How good's the Chinese Garden?
Dude,
in the middle of the fucking park.
Yeah, you just walk over and it's like a turnstile and you go in there and like, you don't say to them, get me this, and this. They'll just have the beers pre-poured and they'll just put it on the counter and people grab it and they'll have the pretzels. You grab it as you're exiting. You go, I've got this, and this. And they go, this much.
Makes me fucking hungry.
I'm hungry thinking about it, dude. Yeah.
It's like a buffet style, right? You like for the food.
Big time.
Oh man.
Big time. Oh, dude, I could probably eat a couple of pretzels and a pork knuckle right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hey, what are you having for dinner, Phil?
I think we're gonna get pub lunch.
Yeah, nice. Are you going to the pubs after this?
Probably.
Fuck yeah.
Probably not for beers, but for pub lunch.
Did Em fuck off?
She was going to go to the gym, but I think she's gone for a dog walk, and then we're gonna go for a wander.
In a fish weiß, Schliegen, Flaggen, Flügen. What are the lyrics? The German lyrics.
Ich weiß.
Ich weiß. What's that?
And I know.
And I know.
Der Fehler liegt bei mir. The fault is with me. The fault lies with me.
Der Fehler liegt bei mir.
Der Fehler liegt bei mir.
Der Fehler liegt bei mir.
Did you use your Deutschland skills?
Here's the thing, dude. I got so used to saying Dankeschön, bitte, auf die Lobt.
Did anyone understand that?
No,
because I don't think it means anything.
I think I did say. I swear to you on my mother's life, dude. I'm pretty sure I said to
what
someone.
Did you say?
I think I said to someone in maybe Austria or Germany. I was like, es wird keine Pulparty geben, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I said it. But yeah, dude, it was just like.
Did you use any other skills?
Dankeschön. I said, ich bin nicht. Nah, I said, bespalten and things like that.
Yeah, nice.
All that, yeah.
The basic stuff.
Yeah. But it was so good. Like, even after a while, I was just like, I'd get out of an Uber and be like, Dankeschön. It just felt good.
Felt good.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I love that.
And someone, like, I'd go up to someone, like, they'd be like, Kaffee und Milch, bitte.
You're like, oh yeah.
They're like, Kaffee und Milch, and they'd be like, sugar, and I'd be like, bitte.
Yeah, bitte. Danke. Dankeschön.
Yeah, danke. Yeah, it was sick, dude.
It
felt so good.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I feel like I've commandeered this whole podcast. I feel bad.
That's good. I feel like it's story time, bro. That's like my travel story ones. It's all just Europe talk.
Yeah.
I love it. Makes me jealous. Makes me want to go back.
Yeah, you'll get there. Dude, I'd strongly suggest going to Prague though. I wouldn't mind doing like the Mediterranean
Italy,
trip. Dude, Italy, Greece, Turkey, and even maybe like Morocco would be a sick trip.
Yeah.
And then eventually
none of those I've been to. So that is exactly what I would want to do. Greece and Italy on the top of the list.
Turkey would be dope, dude.
Turkey would be dope.
I
want to go to Egypt.
Yeah, I'd probably tie Egypt into that as well.
Oh man, I want to see that Pisa.
One of my co-workers just got back from Egypt. She said it was dope. So, and then maybe one day I'll do England, Ireland, Wales, Scotland as its own trip too.
Yeah, that needs to be its own.
Yeah,
I never did that until
What's England
last
like,
year.
Dude?
I don't know. It's kind of like what the weather's been like last week.
Yeah, true.
It's rainy.
Is it just like people
cool.
like fucking yeah? Like
no, everyone's super nice.
do they? They don't use euro. They use Great Britain pound.
Yeah.
So that's that's pretty much the
no
equivalent to Europe, right?
They're no longer Europe. It's a different trip. You can't say you went to Europe if you're just doing that. But I've never been to the other ones. I've never been to Ireland or Wales.
Or Scotland.
Kind of want to do, or Scotland.
Yeah.
Well, I only did the UK for the first time last year.
Yeah, true. Yeah, dude, you were in it, dude. That's sick. Was it yeah, and you were out in that footy game and shit. That's dope, dude. Yeah.
But I got a lot of Irish folks that have started at my work now. So there's so many Irish. Yeah. They're all coming over. They're like, I need a job.
Let me ask you this, like, I mean, even if it's early stages, do you find they're cliquey? Like,
well, obviously they get along with their own kind, and
but we're not like that, dude. like if I'm over,
surely we are.
Like, look, if I'm overseas, right? If I'm like, let's say I'm in Texas, and I'm working for a tech company in sales, and the team's about 30 of us, and there was 4 Aussies there, and the rest of them were Americans, maybe like a French guy or whatever. I'd fuck with the Aussies, but they wouldn't be my best friends.
Yeah.
But the Irish,
depends who they are, right?
The Irish I work with and the other Irish I've seen around, dude, that 4 group would be the closest group.
Yeah.
But like you'll have one friend who's
different.
Irish.
It's different because Americans and Australians can understand each other. I can't fucking understand these dudes, bro. Like they're like,
do you know what you say to them?
Say it slower, bro.
If they like, I say, fair play to you, fair play. So fair play is like, fair enough. Like, so it's like, if they said, Phil, how was your weekend? And you go, it was all right, man. Like, I was a bit sick, but I still went to the gym. They'd be like, fair play to you. You know? So you say fair play. Cheers is like slonshare and shit.
Yeah. One of the Irish guys I work with, he went to the gym on the weekend for the first time ever.
Is he a fat dude?
No. He's not fat, but he's not like...
He's a twig?
He's not in shape.
Yeah.
But like one of the other Irish dudes, he's quite in shape. Like he's a fit dude. So he took him to this gym to do a high rocks workout.
High rocks.
Which is like full fitness.
Phil, I'm fucking sorry, Phil.
Nah, he loved it. He was like, it felt really good. And I was like, yeah, I know. I've been doing it for a while. Can't you tell, please?
Well, do they come up and like, Phil,
compliment me?
Do they not say like, you're a big cunt, look at your shoulders, Phil?
Nah, not them. Not them.
Everyone else.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Dude, you're a freak of nature, dude. Like you won't go to the gym for 6 months and you're still jacked as fuck.
I don't know. It's happened recently, dude. In Feb. So we got a new puppy in January. We got Marty. Then I don't know. Marty! I don't know if it was like the training the puppy, but I was just like focused and didn't snack much. And I got down to the lightest I had been since high school. And then in the months following,
what is that?
The end of I got down to 83 kilos.
It's like my weight now.
Which is like normally around the 87, 88. And then in the last month, I literally cracked the heaviest I've ever been. I stood on the scales and I was 92 one morning. I was like, what the fuck have I been doing? So I just went from no snacking to just all the snacking.
What are you snacking on? Tim Tams.
Well, it was when we were moving offices, the old office, there was a cafe down the road and they have the best bacon and egg wraps you'll ever have. It's called the Mentmore at Rosebery. The best bacon and egg wrap you'll ever have. So every day that we were in the office in like the 2-3 week lead up to the office move, we're like, we got to have a wrap. We got to have a wrap. There's an extra bit of meal there. Then I was probably being a bit more snacky with the office snacks. Like we'd have chocolate chip cookies and shit in the office. So I'd have a bit of that. Then a couple more office lunches, going out to the locals. Yeah, it was fucking bulking.
Hell yeah. Did you feel heavier?
Oh, I felt heavy. I feel fat.
Really?
But now I'm starting to trim down again.
You haven't changed a bit since I last saw you.
I'm wearing an oversized tee.
To fucking mask your fucking B-wing bomber wingspan shoulders, dude. Dude, I could fit a plane in between your shoulders, dude. They're fucking massive.
At least a school bus.
Well done. Solid timing. Lisa school bus.
Shit.
Yeah. Well, it's a fucking pleasure to be back, and I'm going to leave my beers in the fridge, so you have to invite me back again.
Yeah, do it.
Keep it Krieg, everyone, and if you go on a flight, take Valium.